Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a long overdue shop my stash. I really need to get back on a rhythm with these videos for both my sake and my YouTube video scheduling's sake. So you are looking at my little basket that I put my shop my stash items in. This is different for me than an everyday makeup drawer. Now you can see me swaying in the background. I actually have, oh, now you can't really tell because of the ring light, Mr. Emmett strapped to me falling asleep. So he's helping today, and I'm sorry if it's distracting that I am swaying back and forth, but the baby needs to have a nap, so this is what we're doing. I pull a couple of new products to be testing out over 2 weeks. It's actually been 3.5. Oh, I'm all over the place lately. And then some products from my existing makeup collection to get more use out of. You guys know I'm doing 5 project pans right now. Some of those have a lot of products in them, so I don't pull a full everyday makeup drawer's worth of products, so I can focus on my project pans a little bit more. So I'm going to stop rambling and show you what I have been working on. Let's start with the ColourPop Lilac You A Lot palette. So this I kept in from my last rotation actually. So it's been 2 rotations now. I've had my chance to play with it. I keep this little foam piece in here because my shade in Cloud came to me broken, and no matter how many times I kind of jam it back in there, it continues to crack, as you can probably see. So I just keep this piece in there to keep it from spreading across the palette basically. I've had a lot of fun with this. This is my first monochromatic palette, first and only, that I've gotten from ColourPop, even though so many of them are on my wish list. This one I pulled the trigger on right away when it launched, and I was concerned that you'd be very limited. Now obviously you're limited because it's monochromatic. I'm only going to create purple looks with some variation. But I'm actually really pleasantly surprised with how many different looks I've made with this palette, and I'm super happy to have it in my collection. It's the same amazing ColourPop formula that I have come to love, and I have hazel eyes, but they definitely lean way more green, and purple just looks amazing on like hazel or green eyes. So I've been loving playing with this. I've used purple a lot over the last probably month and a half, so I'm ready to put this back into my collection. I was also using my ColourPop So Jaded palette. Now this I am absolutely in love with the exception of the 2 pressed glitters. I haven't even touched those. I don't know if I ever will. This palette has so much variety. I haven't even had a chance to play with every single shade. There's just so many in here. There are 30. We do have a Super Shock shadow up in the corner as well, which I loved playing with. I feel like I have made quite a few very different looks, and I'm just super happy to have this palette in my collection. It definitely screams more fall to me just when I glance over it, but there's a lot of peachy tones, lighter tones. There's those purpley tones I've been reaching for a lot. Like, it definitely can be used year round. But I am ready to put this away for a little bit. Like I said, I've reached for this quite a bit. And I can't wait to pull this back out again, but I have a lot of palettes in my collection that I should be rotating through a little bit, but super pleased with this palette. I pulled out the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer to test out. This is the 1/2 ounce size. I mentioned on my channel a lot, but Smashbox primers, you can buy the 1/2 ounce size for less than half the price of the full ounce size. So it's cheaper. Like, I could buy 2 of these in the plastic packaging for cheaper than I could buy 1 of the full size 1 ounce in the glass packaging, if that makes sense. This I use as my primer and moisturizer in one, just because of my skin type. My skin is a bit more combo oily, so if I go in with my moisturizer and then put this on top and then a pore filling primer, which I do need for my preferences, it's too much. My face gets too greasy. So if I'm going to be doing my skincare And then I immediately apply this as my moisturizer and primer and then go in with my foundation. I'm stuttering. My foundation looks incredible. I really do like this. I'm definitely going to pull this out when the weather starts cooling down here again. But for now, I don't really need this type of primer in my daily routine at this stage. If I am struggling with some dry patches, I will be sure to pull this out. It's really great. I totally get the hype. I also pulled out the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in Fenty Glow. This was kindly gifted to me from It's Just Steph, so thank you, Steph. I have been using this, and to be honest, I'm going to keep this in to test it out more because I don't feel like I fully have my thoughts on this. I know this is so many people's absolute favorite lip gloss, and I don't know if it's mine. Is that absolutely crazy? It's called a gloss bomb. It's definitely thicker, has a balmy texture, which I don't know why I wasn't expecting that considering its name. It's a bit thicker. It feels really luxurious and nice, but I'm going to keep this in another rotation to try and articulate my thoughts a little bit better. Yeah, because I don't know if I love it and I can't pinpoint why, so I think I just need to use it more. Last second, during my last Shop My Stash, I pulled in the Cover FX Monochromatic Blush Duo in the shade Soft Peach. Kind of thinking, like, I have been thinking about it for a while. I'm going to pull it in, but I don't know if I will have a chance to test it out a lot. And I did only get to use this one time, but I know which palettes I'm going to be pulling, and this is going to pair with those so beautifully. So I'm going to keep this in another rotation. The one time I used it, I really did love it. It's very pigmented and blended beautifully on my cheeks, but obviously I can't review something based on only using it one time. And I just, not only to review, but to use it and love it, I'm going to continue to reach for this. This was also kindly sent to me from Steph. Now moving on to the products that were the Shop My Stash portion. These were products that I've already owned. The ones I just talked about were new products to me. First up, I have the Smashbox highlighting palette. Oops, sorry for the glare. This was in collaboration with Casey Holmes when I bought it. It is the Pearl one, and I reached for this a ton, especially this middle shade. The way this palette is set up, it's kind of like a more natural highlight, a bit more intense, and this one is a bit more glittery. And this one, I was just reaching for a ton over the last, 3.5 weeks, I guess it's been. And I'm happy with the use I got on this, and I'm ready to put this away. I did not reach for my ColourPop Ultra Satin Lip in Alyssa even once. It is about a medium pink kind of shade. Really beautiful. I just haven't been wearing looks that call for this kind of color, I guess. I've been doing a lot of like really intense purple looks, and I just thought that was too much. I was going with more of a nude shade like this. This is Dose of Colors in Truffle. This is more on the nude side, but still kind of pinky. And I think I do want to keep this out, actually. I only used it one time. This was not in my last Shop My Stash video because I just reached into my collection to pull it out afterwards. But I'm going to be keeping both of these in this little basket I have here. I pulled out my Milani eyeshadow primer to test against just using concealer on my lids. Now that it's getting warmer, I was noticing my eyeshadows creasing, and I was using just concealer to pan a concealer and it just wasn't cutting it. I pulled in my Milani eyeshadow primer to kind of do a side-by-side comparison and see if it's time for me to pull this out, and it is. So I'm going to put this down in my everyday makeup drawer, which now that I'm here, I'm just going to show you quickly because it is rearranged since last time. So this is what my everyday makeup drawer looks like, and it's almost all Project Pan items in here. I have my primers and foundations right here, eye products over there, all my cheek products and powders, and the eyeshadows I'm panning. Any lip products and concealers are up on top in an acrylic organizer, but this is why I don't pull a lot in my Shop My Stash videos, because all of these products I'm trying to, either hit pan on or use up, and it's a lot to focus on already, so this is where my main attention lies. Back up to the top here, I also pulled in my Ciate London Wonder Wand Kohl liner. Just through using my makeup. I reached into my drawers to pull this out. It wasn't in my last video. I only used this one time, so I'm just going to keep this in and use it a couple more times. I ideally want to use things like 2 or 3 times if I'm going to pull them in a Shop My Stash. It is a very black liner, very creamy. I like it a lot, so I'm going to get a little bit more use out of it before putting it back. So that means we're only putting away 4 products, the 2 palettes, the highlighting palette, and the primer. So we'll see how much I decide to pull in. I'm not really sure because I kept in 3 lip products, the blush duo, and the eyeliner. But let's head over to my makeup collection and pull some new things out. As always, we're going to start in my absolutely stuffed full new in makeup drawer. I know there's a lot in here. I have no excuse, so I'm not even going to try and make one. There are 2 palettes I know I for sure want to pull in. The first is the Wet n Wild Not a Basic Peach palette. That's not in focus, sorry. I know this isn't cruelty free, but this was passed on to me by a friend a very long time ago, and all I've done is swatch it, which is terrible. I've heard these palettes aren't that hard to pan. Not that I'm looking to do that right away, but I would just like to get some use out of it, and if I really don't like it, I can pass it on and help out my cruelty-free percentage. And I also really want to pull out my ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. And this is what that palette looks like. Again, I think this is going to pair really nicely with the blush duo that I have in. We're going for all the peachy vibes. This palette is so many people's favorite ColourPop palette, and I'm really excited to finally dig into it. The last product I want to pull out of here is from Ciate London. This is an eye luster creme shadow in the shade Cupid, which is this like holographic kind of purpley gold shade. I think this will look beautiful with one of the eyeshadows I'm trying to pan in my Pan Those eyeshadows. Here's a swatch of that Ciate London liquid shadow. Gosh, that is so beautiful. This is my blush and highlighter drawer. It's very chaotic and not too organized. Well, no, I should say it's very organized. I know where everything is. We have blushes to the left, highlighters on the right, but I have kind of 3 rows going across the front because these are my paler highlights that work best for me in the winter. These are the darker ones that I want to be sure I use when I have a tan, which I don't yet because we can't go outside really that much. And then my blushes are over here. So that's how I have it organized. In the back I have palettes and cream products. And I actually have been thinking about this PUR palette back here for the highlighter in it. This is the PUR Bronze in Brighten. We got this in a BoxyCharm a really long time ago, many years ago. And I really want to pull it back out for that highlighting shade. The blush is also very springy, but quite intense. Let me see if I can swatch these for you. I'm kind of squatting because I have Emmett on front of me. I can't bend over. Whoa! So there are swatches of those shades there. Super intense. But these do look beautiful with a duo fiber brush when they're blended out, obviously. They don't look that intense on the cheeks, but I'm excited to pull those out and continue and start to get a little bit more use on them. I know I already kept in 3 lippies plus all the lippies that I'm panning, so this could be a very bad idea. However, with the 2 peachy palettes I pulled, I have a peachy blush, I couldn't help but think of my NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream, which I don't know where it is. Here it is, in the shade Athens, which is a very nice peachy nude type of shade. Again, I will swatch it. Beautiful for the springtime. It's right here if I was out of frame. So I of course think that this will pair beautifully with the palettes I pulled out. This is my primer, concealer, and foundation drawer. Another product that I have just continually been thinking about, I guess I'm just on a peach kick. I don't know what it is. Spring has gotten in my head, I guess. Whoops, I nudged my camera. I really want to pull in my Too Faced Peach Perfect foundation. I feel like I haven't used this for a while. I've gotten a lot of love out of this foundation, if you can tell how skinny it's getting. But this is one of my older ones and one of my favorites, and I haven't reached for it in quite a long time. This isn't my perfect shade. I got the shade Porcelain. This was before they had their shade expansion, and when I use this up, I'm pretty sure I will repurchase, but in a better shade for me. And I've been thinking about this for a while. I want to pull it in, and I think that will be good. There's so many other products I want to pull in, but at the same time, I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed. So this is going to be the last product I pull out. Alright, so let's put these products away together so you can get a good idea of what I will be using and testing out. So first up, I have my ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. The Wet n Wild Not a Basic Peach palette, again, not cruelty free. The PUR Bronze and Brighten palette, again, there's the two very intense swatches of the highlight and blush on my hand there. And the Cover FX Peach Blush Duo. Too Faced Peach Perfect Foundation. The Ciate Cream Liquid Eyeshadow. Bring it over here. Wyatt's showing you the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. Dose of Colors in the shade Truffle. Ciate London Wonder Wand Eyeliner. Thank you. ColourPop Ultra Satin in the shade Alyssa. And the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in the shade Athens. Here is another look at the swatches on my hand. So we have all the lippies on the top there, and the liquid eyeshadow right there. Really happy with how springy these products look. I'm really happy with the variety of products that I pulled out this time, and I just want to get a bit more use on, show it some love. It's always a balance with my project pan items and getting some use out of these ones as well. Tell me in the comments below what products you have been reaching for. Whoops, that's okay. Can you give us a thumbs up in the camera? If you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to give it a higher thumbs up. That was Wyatt, so that we know that you liked it. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!